Be here now, and why this philosophy should be the #1 rule in any chimney sweep operation. When I first started in this business back in early 1983, my first SOP, Standard Operating Procedure, rule was be here now. By this I mean simply that when I was at a customer's home, the one thing that was important and should only be on my mind is the job at hand. I did not need to be thinking about the next job or the other items scheduled that day or even personal problems at home. Only the job at hand. This was so important to me back then that I actually painted it on the back bumper of my first work vehicle. Because of recent events, which I'm about to show you, I have again put it on the back of my current work vehicle. Here's what happened. On Monday morning, November 18th of 2019, I drove up to my first job. A little background info. This was to be an inspection and sweeping of a prefab fireplace chimney in a condo duplex. Simple sweep, really. I looked the location up in my database and had been to the home 6 years before and written up the chase pan, which had both the prefab I was to service that day as well as the one next door coming out of it, and it was badly rusted and needed to be replaced. When I drove up, I could see that the chase pan was still rusted. Now here's a part of the equation that led to a bad thing happening. Because of changes in my health and business plan, I was going to tell the homeowner if they wanted to look into repairing the chase pan, that another chimney sweep company in town were the ones to call. I did not do that work anymore. And also because it was a condominium, more than likely the association was responsible for the repair anyway. But because I felt like I needed to prove my job, in other words, look like I knew what I was doing to the homeowner, I chose to go on the roof, even though there was no practical reason for me to go up there. The GPS in my van also has a dash camera and is constantly recording video and audio throughout the day, and by some fluke it recorded the following. It is not pleasant, but it is a prime example of why when one is at a home, they need to practice be here now. I have cut some parts out of this video. If you look at the timeline down on the bottom left, you will see when we skip ahead in a couple places, like how fast I got out of the van. I rang the doorbell and then I realized there might be a front door around the side, but there wasn't. So I come back, and as taught at Sweeping Hawaii in 1992, I stepped back from the door to give the lady answering the door space. That's my employee Beauregard barking right now. And I go in the house and I look up inside the fireplace and in the chimney, of course, talk to the lady for a minute, and then come back out. After I come back out and pet the neighbor's cat, then I make my first mistake. Like I've said, I put up ladders so I can go up on top just to prove my job to the homeowner. I'm already an old man because 7 months before this event, I had a massive heart attack and almost died. Now here's the key to all of this. Right at this point in time, I am actually thinking about the other 5 jobs I've scheduled that day and how far apart they are, and how there's no way in the world I can figure out how I'm going to get to all those jobs if I have to do the work that I'm supposed to do at them. I actually went up on the roof, measured the chimney, took pictures of the chase pan rusted, and very carefully got back on the ladder, had both feet on the rung just under the gutter, and thought, well, ooh, I'm okay. So much for being here now. And I'm glad I am, though. I broke 2 vertebrae and did not work for the next month. And on top of that, I was so stupid that after the fire department and the ambulance got there, I decided I would drive myself to the hospital after telling my wife what was going on, because I needed to get my employee Beauregard home. Let me tell you one bit of advice. If you're ever hurt and 911 is called, you go to the hospital in the ambulance. You don't walk in the front door of an ER. My wife and I still argue about whether we spent 3 hours or 4 hours waiting to see a doctor. I used to brag about when I got hurt on the job because, you got to be tough and manly. The picture above on the right is of me a number of years ago working on a chimney, and I'd had to breach the exterior. It was a 2-story exterior chimney, and I was in there trying to take out the bottom 5 feet of flue liner, and a brick came loose 15 feet above my head inside the chimney. Never hit the sides, came straight down and hit me in the back of the head. And the reason for my funky look with the head sock and the bandana is I was using that to stop the bleeding so I could finish the job. Anybody that's known me for any period of time know that for the last 38 years in the chimney industry, I've been famous for stirring the pot. I do have to say one thing, that is that I know very little about business. I know a good bit about fixing chimneys and the technicalities of it and all that kind of stuff. And if I can drive one thing home, it is that safety is very important. If you want to know more, I want to know about business, there's another answer to that. Pay attention to Jerry and his group. He's the man. He knows what he's talking about. Jerry's got all kinds of useful information inside his head, and if you work on him real hard, you might get some of it to spring out.